Now we're bringing ourselves up to the present moment where we're going to look at how did we get into this situation with the Trump presidency. In our first series, I went through about the birth of Christ and how in the olden days the monarchs were ordained by God, and we have the two different classes of people. One is the class of ecumenicals, which are ordained, so those would be the Pope, the cardinals, the priests, and all of them. And then there's the monarch, which is the ruling class, and then of course the two suits of moons and spheres, which are the artists and the alchemists. So we had a huge belief system where there was the belief that the Earth was flat, and when Copernicus came in and Kepler, at that time, the astrology was kept by the cardinals at the Vatican in Rome, and Aristotle actually was keeping the astrology there. And Nostradamus actually had this deck, which was discovered by a pair of investigative reporters in 1997, and it shows us the tarot, which precurses our modern day tarot. So today's reading is all about, this is going to be mid-20th century, and this is the turn of the century, and then brings us up to the present moment, which is Donald. How did 2016, how did we end up with, Donald Trump as our president? So here we have the 8 of Sons, which is the 8 of Wands. So the modern deck says that's great news coming. So this is the herald. Okay, so this is the herald of the coming of the new world and the new world order, which is, I hate to say it, was the neo-Nazi and the fascist regime, and the beginning of the Allied and Axis powers, which precursed World War I and World War II. So this is the prince, or the false monarchy. And then we have the 6 of Stars, which is the celebration of the church. So this is the gathering then of the church of the Pope and the Vatican. And here we have 4 of Spheres, which is the community of scientists. Okay, so that is what was bringing us to the present in our belief system at the turn of the century, which is now the 10 of Sons, which says that the Republic is now the ruler, and we have separated now from the church. But the church now, you see, this is the 9 of Stars. The church objected because previous to that, the Protestants and the Catholics had been at war in Europe, and now the Pope has seen that the evangelical and the Christian movement is largely taking the population away from the Vatican. We're talking 20th century, turn of century, and as you can see, this cardinal card comes up, and this is when, once again, we have the corruption in the Vatican, and we start to see all the problems within the Catholic Church. At the same time, we have the 10 of Moons. So this is the finality of the kingdom of the Creator, the arts and the moons. All right. And now, how did we get to the present moment, which is 2016? What's this all about? And I keep saying the same thing. The Pope is at the beginning of this all. This goes back to the last reading. The star is the star of hope, and this actually is the return of Zion. This ultimately is the star of Bethlehem. It symbolizes this freedom. This is all about freedom and the freedom of the oppression of the people, actually the tribes of Israel. If you will remember, one of the very first things Donald Trump did, which I believe was against international law, was reassign something like Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. I don't know, just some bogus move he did. Okay, and so that's 2016. Here we have the 13 of spheres, which is the Queen of Pentacles. So at this time now, money becomes everything. It's all about the money. And we bring ourselves up to, once again, the Emperor. This is the reestablishment of the church with the presidency, because who's backing him, as we spoke in part 1, is his followers, which is his voting bloc is primarily formed of evangelicals. Now, for clarity, would anyone like clarity? Okay, so we're asking ourselves, how did we get to this point? How did we get to 2016? How did the Pope send the star, who is Donald Trump, now to fulfill the, how did the Pope send the star, who is now Donald Trump, to fulfill the prophecy, which is the prophecy of Israel and the return of Zion, to meet with the Queen of Spheres, who's the Pentacles, or the astronomer, in order to create our current world paradigm, which is essentially ruled by the Emperor. So this is going to be the Putin card. There's no way around it. I know a lot of people say the Empress is Putin, but not in my deck. All roads lead to Rome. All roads lead to Putin. Look at this. Rome. Rome. Here it is. Rome. The star, Donald Trump. The time, the astronomy, for Putin. So the Pope wants all roads to lead to Putin. Why? Why does the Vatican want all roads to lead to Putin? The reason why is because, and remember, for entertainment purposes only. Oh, and thank you for likes. Because, oh my God, the Page of Swords, who is the youth who is fighting, the youth who is fighting for the truth. You see this? The Page of Swords, who come, the youth who come with the message of truth, is pregnant with the love that Trump has for Putin. Sorry, Empress, but you are in love with the Emperor. So that the Queen of Swords, who is the keeper of the intelligence agency inside the United States federal government, can can pull a trick on you. That's right. So they can pull a trick on you. Oh, that's sad. All right. Thank you, everyone, for the likes. We will continue with part 3 tomorrow. I'll put part 1 in the comments, or the link in the description, so that y'all can see it if you'd like. And thank you for the likes. This is a new channel. I appreciate it so much.